history, the wrath of King Astyages. Did you know that King Astyages was the ruler of the Median Empire from 585 to 549 BC? And one day he had a dream about his daughter urinating over the entire world. Yeah, weird, I know. But he relayed this dream to his Magi, who said, this isn't good. I think it means that she's going to sire something that will ruin your empire and take over the world. So King Astyages decided to marry his daughter off to a lowly Persian, because at the times the Persians were absolutely no match for the might of the Median Empire. Around a year later, King Astyages had another dream, again about his daughter, but this time she had vines coming out of her and they wrapped around the world. So he relayed this dream to his Magi again, who said this can only mean one thing. Your daughter will give birth to someone who will overthrow your empire. King Astyages couldn't let this happen. Upon the birth of his daughter's first child, King Astyages demanded that his right-hand man Harpagus take the child and dispose of it. Funnily enough, Harpagus didn't want to kill a baby, so he took it to a shepherd and said, "You do it, I'll see you later." The shepherd's wife was pregnant at the same time and had given birth to a stillborn, so the shepherd decided to keep the live boy and return the stillborn to the king wrapped in the king's clothes. Now we fast forward 13 years. When the king hears of a skilled young swordsman who's beating people in combat well above his social standing, which was unheard of at the time. So the king called a meeting with the young man. Upon meeting him, he said, "You look just like me." He then said, "You seem like someone of noble birth." Kinda tipped him off that it might have been his grandson. So he called in Harpagus and the shepherd and did a little detective work. He soon realized that yes, in fact, this skilled young swordsman was his grandson, the prophesied end of his empire. But he wasn't angry. In fact, no, the king was rejoiced. He said, "No, silly me. I shouldn't have tried to kill a baby. What was I thinking? In fact, I'm happy. I'm so happy. Let's have a big party and a feast. Harpagus, your son's around the same age as my new grandson. Send him down here. They can have a little play. And then this evening we'll have a giant feast to celebrate." What happens next is a little dark. When Harpagus' son turned up at the palace, the king had him immediately killed, butchered into joints, roasted and boiled. Christ. Then later on at the feast, everybody was given a plate of mutton, except for Harpagus. Unbeknowingly to him, he was served all of the butchered and cooked meat from his son, all except the head, hands and feet, which were placed neatly on a silver platter underneath a lid. The king let Harpagus eat until he was satiated and then asked if he'd enjoyed the meal, to which Harpagus replied, "Yes, very much indeed." So the king then beckoned the servers over with a silver platter and said, "Please, remove the lid and take whatever you fancy." Harpagus removed the lid to see the fragments of his dead son lying in front of him. He did not react or lose his cool. He simply looked at the king, who said, "Do you know which animal's flesh you have consumed this evening?" Harpagus replied, "Yes, and for my part in it, may the king's will be done." He then stood from the table, took the silver platter home to bury the remnants of his son. Jesus Christ, don't piss that guy off. Woo! That one was dark, wasn't it? They get worse, though, if you want worse.